Hi, guys. Today I am privileged. I have the pleasure and honor of speaking with the one and only Scott McKAY in the house. Woo! Um, I am so fortunate. Nothing is by coincidence that we planned this for 11/11 on
Yeah,
this most holy and auspicious day of the open portal, and we're gonna talk about many important things today and really try to elevate the consciousness together, right, Scott? Um,
absolutely.
and I just want to say thank you to Dr. Sandra Rose Michael for introducing us and making this happen for me. And I'm so blessed to have her in my life and now to have you in my life. Tell me how you're feeling today on 11/11.
Well, because I now have you and Dr. Sandra in the ether of my world, it's awesome. And she is a hidden treasure on the planet. She's one of my closest friends today, biggest supporters. It's awesome because every time she comes to any of the Reawaken events or whatever, she's always wearing her Save the Kids Patriot Street Fighter shirt with her Patriot Street Fighter ball cap every single time. When she does interviews. So I just love her because she's obviously a massive wealth of information for all of us, but not just what's in her brain, but what's in her soul. I mean, there's very few people out there that have that kind of resonant frequency and purity in their soul.
Yes.
So I learn a lot from her.
Well, I think you guys are some kind of soulmates to each other because
Pretty
in
sure.
Batavia, I saw you guys interacting. It's just like you're known to each other. You're
Yeah.
just connected, very, very connected. And I remember, we won't discuss the details, but I remember there was some excitement in Batavia on stage, and she was just kind of trying to give you some kind of healing to get you through it. Do you remember that?
You mean our escape from New York?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, just as a reminder, Letitia James here, I said in Dallas, Texas, go forth yourself.
Yes, you can. I want to ask you your thoughts. I want to jump right in and see what your thoughts are about the EBS. We think if it's incoming or delayed. What do you think? Let me pick your brain about that.
You know, Gila, I don't know. I really don't. I just was on a call this morning with Charlie Ward on some things like, what's your thoughts on the election? What's going on? What's happening? And he mentioned a couple of things like he thought today was the day we would go into martial law. You wouldn't necessarily see it, but it's like the declarations and things behind the scenes move in a certain way. I don't know where that information comes from. I've listened to people tell us what is likely or could possibly happen. There has to be some logic and some type of rationale or evidence behind things that we've been told forever. EBS is coming, the 10 days of darkness. I don't discount any of that. I mean, this all comes from the military intelligence dissemination operation, which I've never backed up 1 inch on. Is it legitimate? 1000%. You cannot, like I said, anybody who has an oppositional opinion to the Q operation, they're one, and that oftentimes the vast majority of people that have a negative opinion are people who've not read the intel, who've not read all of it, or specifically did not go through the process of it being revealed in real time as we live through it in real time. So let's say that you have, and you come out with a negative opinion. Or if you haven't, you're either intellectually dishonest or intellectually lazy. If you went through what we did, you couldn't draw any other conclusion than the facts of what we know. It's legitimate. Number two, you're making opinions against it. Or even let's say you're for it, but have never read it, you're still intellectually lazy because you haven't done your homework. You haven't put your brain into that operation and come to understand it. So that being said, those things I believe are going to be part of what happened in this transition. And we have to consider the fact, Gila, that maybe that's just misinformation because it's an intelligence operation. And as they told us, misinformation is real, misinformation is necessary. Okay,
Yes.
now we know that too. So what is it? Where does that leave us? Hell, I don't know. Watching the greatest show on earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, watching the greatest show on earth. That's where it leaves me. Right?
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, like, I have no idea what's next. I know all these people say Trump's going to be reinstated in the White House on July the 4th last year. I heard those clowns. I heard all this stupid stuff. Here we sit. None of it's come true. So I always say to my audience, I have no idea what's next. I just know what the outcome is going to be in the end. We win. we take the planet back. And
Well, I love that honesty. I love the fact that you're not promising dates. You know, it's the hardest part for me is to get my hopes up, but I've learned to stay constant and not do that anymore. Like I did a few rounds of hopes up, hopes crushed, and now I'm like, whatever it is, God, I'm constant. I'm here, and whatever it is. Is it true, Scott? Was Charlie Ward in Mar-a-Lago recently?
he's going to be in Mar-a-Lago about 6:30 tonight, having dinner with Trump.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Was he excited for that? Is that his first time meeting him?
I believe it is.
Okay.
We were talking about this morning, and because I was there last week, I was in a room with a small group of people with Trump. We were having this discussion about it. I said, well, I didn't have any one-on-one time with Trump. Virtually nobody did, but you know, you're going to, so let me know what his thoughts are. Again, Charlie realizes he's not going to, you know, these people are not going to telegraph their moves to anybody, especially podcasters, right?
Right.
What do? Got big mouths. We're going to tell everybody, don't say a word. Okay, click on my podcast, ladies and gentlemen, right? Because the people always want to be the one that breaks the information, right?
I think they do use us to spread the misinformation sometimes, but the real information is still a mystery. I heard Nancy Drew posted on her Telegram that there was the National Guard had a bunch of buses pull up to the White House. Had you heard that?
You know, somebody sent me a text this morning, and I'm going to see if I can pull it up quickly. And they, who was it? And I asked them, are you there? And did you see that? 6 long white buses, likely NG, people on the roof. Let me take a quick look because that video
Sure.
is
Presently 9:27 a.m. November 11th, 2022. We're looking at a live camera at the White House. Presently, there were at least six buses.
That's what I'm looking at.
In front of the White House on the closed road that no one can drive through.
That's what they're showing.
But if we zoom in here a little bit now, those buses pulled right up to the
Okay, there's some buses there.
just a minute or two ago. There are a good number of people on the roof of the White House. There's a lot of activity. These buses, to me, appear to be military. Not really sure. This is definitely something to keep an eye on.
You can see the White House is out of business.
Gila.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess, and I did this popped up after I saw the text. It took some time, I guess, but you know, the one thing I can say about the White House, it's out of business. You know, we heard this last year, that obviously there's a lot of things going on. We saw the video where at 2-3 a.m. there's all the lights are dark in the place, except there's a lot of lights out front, like spotlights, like police were there, and they have little kids coming out in blankets, walking out through the door with their blankets on, being taken away. We saw that video. We're like, we know what that is. They're obviously cleaning out the trafficking tunnels under the White House. And then we had learned it. Basically, it was out of business. I saw it with my own eyes. I was there. And this was probably September, October, roughly last year. We were there after midnight coming through on the tour. My driver said, hey, he said, you want to go down to downtown Washington, D.C.? I think he was like kidding, like, yeah, we're going to roll Cinderella down there. That's exactly where our friends are. So I said, hell yeah, where's the exit? He said, really? I said, take the exit. We're going down behind enemy lines. So we pull up we're going through DC, and the place, I've been there many times in my life because I grew up in PA, and the place was eerily dead. There's always this vibrant energy in that city. It's remarkable. It's like you can't help but get caught up in that energy field of just the power center of the planet. You know, the people, some of the smartest people in the world are in DC because they work for government for really no pay. But it was eerily quiet. There was hardly any life, and you could smell the stench of when they flooded those tunnels months earlier, because there was 6 inches of water through the entire city of Washington, D.C. on the streets everywhere. They were obviously flooding the tunnels. And it's still the stench of that sewer you could smell before we got off the bus. That bus like a vault. When you shut the doors, you can't hear anything outside. Can't really smell anything unless it's pulling in through the fans on the, you know, the AC system, but we could smell it. And then when we pulled up in front of the White House, I'm like, where is it? I'm asking my driver. I was like, where the hell is it? Justin said, it's right there. I'm like, he said, see that flag pole with the flag all lit up? Yeah, that's on top of the White House. I'm like, holy shit. You then could barely make out the silhouette of the White House because all of the grounds are dark, right? All these windows in there. There was one of these long, thin windows. One had a light on. The entire grounds were black. Every window was blacked out. The White House is never dark. For the last 80 years, it's never had the lights off. But and when I saw that, I'm like, it's true. The place is out of business. Military intelligence told us, Gila, we will never allow another POS Satanist to occupy the White House. All right. You say, what about Biden? It's not in the White House. Everybody knows that. It's out of business. So, yeah, interesting. We'll see what happens.
So how do you feel about paying taxes this year, Scott?
No comment.
None by me either. I wanted to ask, let me just check my little list. Oh, Trump said he's making an announcement on the 15th. What are your thoughts on that?
I heard that too. He had Tom Homan, who was the director of ICE under Trump. And I'm telling you right now, folks, this guy is an absolute forking badass. He was there. He was there in Mar-a-Lago last week. And we were there. And this guy is an absolute bulldog. And he sounds.
What was the name? What was the name? I missed it.
Tom Homan, Homan. He's a former ICE director. Total badass. He looks the part too. And he talks like I do. And he is ripping AOC a new a-hole. When you're sitting on the committee, she's attacking him. And this one of the other jihad squad up there attacking him. He launched a full onslaught onto these two idiots. He ripped them apart. I'm like, I love this guy. I talked to him afterwards. And I said, Tom, I said, let me tell you. And I spoke in plain language. I said, you are the effing badass that we need in government, taking on these shitheads in Congress. He just kind of laughed. I said, I need you to come on Patriot Street Fighter. And he's like, absolutely. So, so he was what Trump, when he talked about him, spoke with a great reverence about, Tom and what he's done on the border, who he is, and what they're revealing in this new movie that Chris Burgard is going to release. It's called like Defend the Border. It shows evidence, the numbers, the amount of kids that they've lost inside our border, 266,000 traffic coming in. They show the rape trees and all this other stuff of what's happening to kids, women by these coyotes and all these animals. From all the countries around the world coming in across the southern border. Chinese, they had signs in Mandarin at these big towers. Mandarin, it's crazy. Anyways, so getting the point about Trump. Trump said, he said what he said about Tom Homan. He said, Tom Homan's coming back, folks. And he said, I'll pretty soon be talking about what we're going to do. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a little hint that he's going to be probably saying, folks, we're going to run, right? 2024 or whatever. But I know those folks that say, forget 2024, we need to fix 2020 and 2022. I agree 100%.
You don't think he's going to announce Nasara? We're not skipping to that.
I don't think we're going to have an abrupt shift in the planet like that, because what I want to, no, the world's not prepared. We still have people that are asleep. I mean, 500 million people, or not in this country, that's more than we got, but half the people in this country are still asleep. I mean, they're still, I mean, the fact that Dr. Oz, quote unquote, or can lose an election to this guy who's basically dead from the eyes back in Pennsylvania, the U.S. Senate, come on. Right. So people should be coming unglued, pouring into the streets like they do in Brazil, and it's not happening. It's stunning to me that Americans, I mean, I'm raining as much fire down on these scumbags every day as I can, but Americans just still, when's somebody going to do something? When's somebody going to do something? When? And other people are, guy said to me once, Gila, there's 3 types of people. There's people that make things happen, and there's people that watch things happen. And they're the people that say, what the hell happened? Well, half the country are in group 3, right? They don't know anything even happened, right? So I don't know it's going to be abrupt. I think it's going to be a transitional thing when it does happen. But I don't know. I really don't know.
I think it has what to do with the culture in America. Like, I think European culture, they weren't as deadened, as numbed as we were. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. They've been suffering their oppression for a long time. Ours is recent. They've had all the things that have come with their governments over time, and they've become an understanding of that. Because we're rich, fat, and happy and stupid, America.
Exactly what I was thinking. Spoiled and spoiled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's prevalent in this country that we just have it easy. We have it so easy.
Yeah.
We don't, we're not even allowed to fail in this country. You're not allowed to fail. What do you mean? Well, get on welfare if you fail financially. We're not going to let you look at a place like India. In India, the people in India have like tens of thousands of dollars of cash, like stored. Why? Well, there's no social safety net, right? They don't blow everything they got trying to impress everybody around them. They like store and save, and they're prepared. And not all of them, but it's a mindset. Here we're like, well, no big deal. If something goes wrong, somebody will pick me up. The quote unquote government will steal enough money from the people to give it to me.
Yeah, it's naive. It's really naive. I wanted to pick your brain, Scott, about the whole Jewish thing. And, there's been a lot of confusion in the truther community about the Khazarian mafia and calling all Jews Khazarian. And we were talking before we started recording, and I loved what you had to say about not even using labels anymore. So first of all, can you make that distinction that they're not all Jews are evil? And tell me all your thoughts on that topic.
Well, that's absurd. People that make statements like that have such a limited understanding of the world, of history, of humanity. And they're still under the influence of the cabal mindset, which is division, 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 right? Imagine if we were a race of people that all look the same. Think about that. I mean, we see that like in Star Trek, right? The Klingons or whatever, they all look the same. How do you know who's who, right? I mean, how boring is that, right? There's no difference between. Now, here's the thing about humanity versus humankind versus, say, other non-terrestrial life and species. We're considered genetic royalty. Most people aren't yet aware of the off-planet programs run by U.S. Air Force, Navy, military industrial complex, international corporate conglomerate. Go through the long list of secret space programs with major technologies that can make life on Earth easy for every human being. They keep from us, all controlled by the cabal. It's coming down. That's why Trump created Space Force, to put it all under an umbrella as they seize the assets and all of these operations off planet. But so you have these intelligent species that are billions of years more advanced than we are, yet when they're traveling through the universe or whatever universe, they try to come as close to pass through our solar system as they can, just to get somewhere near Terra, which is the planet Earth, which I learned from Megan Rose. They refer to Earth as Terra. We call it Earth because we are considered genetic royalty, which is pretty impressive. All of us considered genetic royalty. We can communicate without saying a word or telepathy just by the look on our face. We got 26 different emotions just by our facial expression, and we communicate that way, right? Try to look at two alligators and say, what are they thinking? Like, I have no clue. What do you mean? Nothing changes. They just sit there with the same look on their face, right? That's a lot of other races. But so when we start to separate us up, Jew, Christian, Muslim, American, Indian, whatever, all those kind of things, it's always a form of division. It's interesting that we have, most people don't understand that humanity here, is a result of 22 separate genetic experiments that have been conducted by non-terrestrial to these planet races. You say, what? What about Adam and Eve and all that? It's all in there too. It's a much bigger picture than you can imagine. And they make it simplistic and also diversionary in our own Bible, right? And the proof that I have on this, we know what Christ's life was for on this planet. We know how his teachings and philosophies and his actions changed the whole world hundreds of years after he died. because Christianity was hijacked by Constantine to be able to use it for a power grab, so to speak, right? Made it a state religion and all that kind of stuff. But the way people act, Christians in this world today, in many ways I've seen in front of me, I'd be like, it's a good thing Christ ain't walking in the door right now, because you'd be bitch slapped by him. They're like, what are you talking? Because he never acted that way. In fact, I said once, Christ was a Buddhist, right? My audience went nuts. How dare you blaspheme? I'm like, okay, so when did Christianity start? Right? Christ wasn't a Christian. There was no religion called Christianity, right? Till after he died, hundreds of years, right? What did Christ do for 17 years? He was on a walkabout like Crocodile Dundee. He was going through India, Tibet, Iraq. He was studying with monks, shamans, Buddhist monk shamans, and people of high consciousness, right? He was learning about, I call it the Christ consciousness. So when he came back and he tried to say to people, look, stop listening to these people, basically they're full of shit. Like, stop looking outward. God is inside of you. That's why I said, ye are all gods. We are all created in the likeness and image of our creator, right? If you say on Facebook, we're all gods, those people come at you like they're going to murder you. How dare you? It's like, stop the noise and the nonsense, right? And again, it's people don't use their brain. Who cares what it is? If I call God source, I get attacked. If I refer to God, hey, you can call it Allah, get attacked. If I say God's a creator, get attacked. Like, people, why do you think they have us backed into the corner? Why? Because you think that color right there, I get into this debate with my security team. My one suitcase I carry my tomahawk in, it's clearly teal, which is green. It's green. They're like, I can't find a green suitcase. It's right there. That's blue. No, it's not. It's green. And we'll go back and forth. I'm like, trust me, I bought it. In the light, it's green. It's teal. What do you think it is? I asked somebody else. Justin says, it's blue. What? I'm like, what? It ain't blue. It's green, right? That's what we get caught up in. Who cares? Who cares what color it is? Who cares what people, how they define our creator or God or Allah or source? What does it matter what you call it? We come from this beautiful, divine, single photon of light or conscious thought that created all things. Can't we just say, awesome, you're created by the same source, got it? How beautiful are you? Like over here, hey, you have interesting hair color and your skin's really different. That's intriguing, right? How cool, right? It's so absurd to me, but I don't know, maybe my consciousness has grown so high that I look down on it, and all you see is the top of people's heads, nothing more.
That's beautiful. I'm getting there too, Scott. Like, I feel my soul expanding so much. I like feel the soul before I see the face.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, when did you wake up? What year? And how did you wake up?
I had nothing abrupt. I started this whole thing in 1990, so it's 32 years now. Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And 1992 is when I started to go look, I'm deeply involved because of the Clinton-Bush 1992 election. And I started looking at Clinton like, what? Look at this clown, right? I started researching him. I'm like, holy Mary, Mother of God. What? This guy's actually a guy who's going to be able to run for. Then I learned about all the crimes and the murders in Arkansas when he's the governor, and the CIA drug running operations out of Mena, Arkansas airport. $40 million a month cash drops from the air into that area where they'd pick it up, where Clinton was using it to fund the Arkansas Development Finance Authority run by Nichols. And so they could take the worst economy in the world, the country, and make it a growing economy. And Clinton points to the successes economically so he can run for president with the help of George H.W. Bush, because Clinton's a CIA asset, and the murders in the security team, all the state police, 48 of them, all dead that were a security team around them, and the coke and the drugs. And you're like, oh my God, they're going to build this circle of power and complete it and take it to Washington. So I started down this whole long time ago, and it just kept over the years. That's why I became involved politically for 16 years. And I realized this machine is corrupt, right? Half these people are criminals, and I walked away. So it's been a long time. So, you know, I remember whenever I did the first live stream, we called it the nuclear video. I did that first live stream to try to calm everybody down after the 2020 election, when it was stolen, and it went nuclear, right? And all of a sudden, boom, the whole world opened up and, you know, dropped on top of my head. People coming from everywhere, like, you know, where have you been? I remember, so where the hell have you been? I'm like, where have I been? Where the hell have you people been? I've been talking like this for 25 years. Are you kidding me? So anyways, yeah, so it wasn't an abrupt, it was a constant evolution over time.
And when did the spiritual piece, because I know what I love about you, Scott, is you know, the galactic piece, you know, the spiritual piece, and the political, like you're just everything. So when did that spiritual piece come to you?
Well, I became a born again Christian when I was 14 years old, and 300 days a year, I'd be reading my Bible for a long time, you know. 1999, I walked away from God. I literally was in my car in Los Angeles, and just all hit me. And I just looked up and I said it, F you, I'm done. Drop the anvil on me. I don't give a shit. I'm not living like this anymore. Why? Because all this pressure and weight and trying to live the life of a good man and all this, but like it always, the whole world to me, just my world just kind of sucked. On the surface, it looked fantastic. And I just like, I'm out. I used to sit in churches. Like I'd be like, listening to pastor. I'm like, I'm looking around for pretty girls. Like I can't focus on anything else. There ain't really cute girls in here, because this guy's boring the shit out of me. I should be on that freaking stage. I would be raining down hellfire in this place. People be on their feet like a Southern Baptist black church. You know, I'm like, maybe I should become a pastor. I'm like, who could be inspired by this? Anyways, so at that point in time in 99, when I walked away, quantum physics became my Bible. And it became my whole world, because when I threw God overboard, like I need to figure out what's the blueprint in this life. Why are we here? Are we here just to walk on our part of the grass and eat our share of the food and drink our part of the water and then die? I'm like, none of this shit makes sense to me. So I'd already been studying epistemology, metaphysics, philosophies, different religions, trying to figure out, make sense of, why am I even alive? Why can't I be happy, right? So quantum physics became my Bible, because it finally explained to me of how this universe works, which incidentally is God's creation. So most people, again, my Christian friends, if I hadn't told the second half of the story where they cheerlead me, they would beat the shit out of me like they do, right? You heretic, you this, you that, shut up. Jesus, kick them in the ass, if you don't mind. I'm too busy right now. That's what my mind thought said, is like that. So, but that's what allowed me, you know, now fast forward, you know, I left the whole political world in 2006. I was no longer going to become a United States Senator. They're scumbags and criminals. I'm out. So then, you know, 2016 rolls around. Trump, of course, announces. I'm like, holy Mary, Mother of God, there he is. I never saw him coming. Like, it's on, right? And that mentally brought me, I never left mentally. I always did the same stuff I did. I just wasn't active politically. But when Trump came to power, my activities went right to Facebook and social media. But so what happens is, in 2014, I was in this catastrophic crash on my Harley Davidson, pulled out of a grave. I had that moment where I laid my Harley into the side of a van at 50 miles an hour, blew me apart, face down on the road, you know, still breathing, everything destroyed except my head, because I didn't hit my head, and I wasn't breathing anymore. And once I got my bearings and realized what was going on in my body, really weird stuff, convulsions and whatever, I just your brain goes very fast, and I was like trying to get my bearings, and I could see the van was destroyed, my bike obviously destroyed, I was destroyed. Incidentally, all those are in the graveyard. I'm not. So we won, but I just, when I'm not breathing anymore, then I knew, okay, my brain's like, okay, you're not breathing anymore, you're gonna die, right? And I was like, I'm gonna die. And I looked over here, and I had my head face down, but I could lift my head up in my elbow, and I could hit my quick release, my helmet falls off, and I could have my head up a little bit. And I was like, I saw this fence line, a wooden fence where I crashed, and I was like, huh, I'm gonna die right here, right now. As I'm gonna die right here, right now. And I'm like, okay. And then instantly everything just settled into this extremely peaceful state, and everything was okay. Like no fear, nothing. Like, I'm ready. Because of quantum physics, I understood how God's creation works, but I didn't call it that at the time. But I put my forehead down on the road, and I'm just gonna wait. My brain's like, it's gonna fade to black in about 40 seconds, and everything's gonna be okay. And then at some point, as this is happening, the next thing I remember is I'm hearing a horrible noise. That's all I remember. I'm thinking, where's the white light? Where's the white light? And this horrible noise. And what it was is my lungs were just firing, trying to kick on, right? Start breathing again, I guess. Next thing I come to realize, I'm fading back in. I'm like not knowing what's happening, but fading in. And then the next thing I know, it's like I'm now aware, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm still alive. And it was this humor went on inside my mind. I'm like, okay, you're gonna die, Scott. Really? Yeah. Right now? Yeah. Oh shit. Hold on. Okay. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready. Fade to black, pop back in. Ha! I was just kidding. Psych. Right. And I was like, wait a minute. This is bullshit. Like, I was good to go, right? And now here I am again. Well, wasn't really funny then, but that was my mindset. Anyways, so I barely survived that because it's blown apart, foot's nearly fully severed, I'm bleeding out, all kinds of chaos around me. They get me to a trauma center barely in time to keep me alive, and then they start doing all this butchering me to put enough metal in me to build a bicycle. So I'm paralyzed on my left side when I wake up after I kept surviving these surgeries. And here I am, waking up one day, 11 days later, they brought me out of the coma, self-induced coma, and a horrible nightmare. So, over the next couple of years, 8 months later, I was living in New Jersey, North Jersey at the time. I had a good business in the West in Colorado, and half my life was still in Las Vegas because I had a film project that was underway with some partners. And so I go from that, waking up, I'm paralyzed on my left side, horrific pain, I'm destroyed. And 8 months after that crash, I'm now homeless, crippled, penniless. So I ended up getting divorced, of course, but yeah, my life went from here, and it just massively cratered. And I had a friend in California take me in because I had nowhere to go to live, and I was basically left for dead. So I lived with a friend for 4 years, a wonderful man who was a client of mine when I still lived in Los Angeles, basically saved my life, and had a free place to live, bedroom, my own shower, all that stuff. And I refused the disability check. And so I didn't want my brain to buy into the fact I'm disabled, because I understood my conscious thoughts would allow me to rewire my neural networks and make this wreckage work again and walk. I knew that's called to Christ consciousness or whatever. So a couple years after that, I'm there for probably a couple years. I developed the secret space, or I come into research secret space programs. I start learning the truth, the big, broad truth. Secret space programs, technologies, interaction. And it was at that point, in that space of time, that brought me full circle back home to God, the concept of God, right? And believe it or not, secret space programs. So when that happened to me one night, laying in bed, and I just was like, I was like, kind of like, I need to know, give, signs. So I'm laying on my side in bed. I feel something didn't touch me. There was a presence. And I remember kind of half waking up out of a dream you don't want to wake up from. And as soon as this presence was there, my first thought was, because I asked for it, is that you? And as soon as I asked that question, it's like this radiant frequency, light just went through my entire body. And it was that state of bliss. However you could describe that. I kind of feel it as I'm talking about it because it sort of comes back when
I feel it too as you're talking about it.
and it was everything and every cell in my body was like just this vibrational stage. And it was like a cloud of peace. And I just laid there. And I remember it because it's like a dream you don't want to wake up from. You're like, don't wake up. I got to kiss this girl, right? Don't wake up. So, and that was my thought, don't wake up, just let it be. And so I stayed in that half asleep state. And this went on for, I'm just guessing 20 seconds, maybe 30, I don't know. But then when it was done, I just felt this, I just peacefully fell asleep, probably the smile on my face, get up the next day. And my whole world was different. I've always had this love for humanity. It's kind of what's always driven me, but it exploded the next day. Like I saw everybody different. I saw everything different. And so that was kind of the awakening of my soul. And that's why I do what I do today. It's like a full-scale war on this satanic power structure to free the people from what they've done to all of us, done to the whole earth and humanity. And it should be the Garden of Eden, but they systematically have captured the planet. And that's why I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be the worst verbal nightmare they've ever heard. They're gonna kill me, but go fork yourself, right? Go ahead and kill me. I'm coming back again and again. I'm gonna keep coming at you.
Yeah.
Right. So
you have like 30 lives. They cannot take you down.
Yeah, I mean, they sold us a line of bullshit. Like, this is not a dress rehearsal. Life is the show. You got to do it all now, right? That's bullshit. I've been here before, so have you. We'll come through again. The soul is going to come through however many times we got to come through this density after this experience, and then you're incarnated again in this density, probably on this planet, but possibly not. You're going to keep going through these incarnations, taking as long as you need to keep learning. And eventually, hopefully, you just keep working upward, closer and closer to God, to our source, which is what all these highly advanced non-terrestrials are doing as well, trying to work higher and ascend higher and fold back into our creator as one, right? So, and they have an interest in our ascension because they have to help us move up for them to move up too. So all these things that I learned, it was like all these puzzle pieces started to snap into my mind and in my soul to complete it. Now I understand. Now I get it. Now I feel all of it. I feel all of it. So most of the shit that I say, that sometimes people say, that's profound. I'm like, yeah, wasn't it? Where'd that come from? I'm like, I don't know. It sure as hell didn't come from me. Trust me.
Right. You're channeling. When you've totally like eliminated ego, you start to channel.
Yeah. And I say people all the time, look, I know what you think of me. I hear it, all the reverence and all the wonderful things that I love to hear people say about me. I'm like, hey, it's awesome, but virtually none of it's true. Trust me, I live with me every day. I know the truth. Whatever you think, I love it, but don't come around and see me from afar all day long. I don't want to blow it, right? So I know.
That's great. It's humility. It's beautiful. And you're living your divine. I mean, it's got to feel good that you're getting this incarnation, right? You're living your divine purpose. Don't you feel like you're one of these alpha males living his divine purpose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I've never been happy in my life. All these startup companies I was a part of to hit the big home run ball.
Cabal. It was all cabal.
Yeah, all cabal stuff. And all I did, look, I wanted it. Not because, I mean, my family would tell you, my mom and dad aren't here, but I would always say, look, when I crack the code, there's going to be so much money raining on me. I'm not going to know what to do with it. And I wouldn't know what to do with it because all I thought about is what I wanted to give away. All I wanted to give to my family. I just want to give to them. I didn't have, like, they say, put your dreams on a refrigerator, all that. It's good for some people in the cabal system. But I'm like, I never had anything on my, I'm like, I don't really care about that. Private jet, because that means that was my measuring stick to the success that I wanted, because if I have enough wealth so nobody owns me. And why did I want that wealth? To go fight those bastards in Washington, D.C. That's why I wanted it. But nobody could own me. And when they run me out, I'm like, go fork yourself. I'm going back because I got a life to live. And it's not too bad. So
isn't this feeling of fulfillment really good? Like, do you feel that every day?
I wake up. Yep. Yeah. Every day. Look, I still have all the injuries. I'm full of metal. Once my feet hit the ground in the morning every day, it's like, here we go again. It's like checked right back into the reality, still crippled, to a degree, paralyzed, I walk around, people are like, oh, you may notice something. Pretty girls never see shit, because when I see pretty girl, I'm like, my gait's perfect. I'm like a smooth operator. Like,
It's amazing how the brain can do that, right? The brain can do that.
like, check this out. Cruising along. But if I'm out around the corner, I'm like, you can see, my gait's gonna be different or whatever. Got a
You
big
looked good when I met you. You looked really good. And I saw you talking before about all the muscles of your face. I knew you were approachable the second I remember I saw you and you were like, hey. And I was like so nervous to approach you, but you made it easy and your face was inviting. So that really, you used a lot of good facial muscles to make it like, because some of the other speakers were not like that, they're great, they're all great, but you were just so human, so approachable, so easy to talk to. I want to find out if you've gone into Dr. Sandra's, any of her energy enhancement systems.
Oh yeah, I sleep in there whenever I'm in Las Vegas. She insists that if I'm staying, I'm not allowed to stay in hotels. In fact, I got to be at Dr. Sandra's house. So she likes to fuss on me and give me all kinds of shakes and smoothies and have me sleep in the system. And
lucky you, lucky dog.
She's very doting. Yeah.
And do you feel different in the morning?
Yeah, there's sometimes I wake up and I walk, to the bath. There's a downstairs bathroom on the other side of the kitchen. I'll just kind of cruise out there. I'm like, wow, my right knee's not even hurting today.
Oh, I love that.
Like that, yeah. And the first time I sat in there was, God, last year sometime. A couple of us, she said, just go in the room, right? And it's a bedroom off the kitchen, and it's got the system in there. It's got a bed, a couple like comfy chairs or whatever. So I'm just sitting in there, and after about 15 minutes, like about 5 or 8 people moved into the bedroom, right? And they're laying across the bed. We're all BSing, and it's like, okay, well, it's time to go. It's about an hour and a half later. And the way my schedule is, I'm always pretty tired. And it's like, yeah, I've got to get to bed and crash. And I remember coming out of there, I'm like, I'm not even tired. Like, what happened?
Wow.
Like all this, I just felt more energy. It's like this late at night. So yeah, there's and now that it exploded around the world as it has, all these remarkable testimonials are just pouring in, which is really cool.
Well, she's got to get you a system in your house.
Well, I was going to put one in my dad's house when he had the stroke to bring him back, but they killed him before I could.
Oh.
My place right here, it's, as I told Dr. Sandra, it's absolutely not conducive setup for it. And so she came and looked for herself. She goes, yeah, this really is not a place where we can set it up the way it needs to be. So it's calibrated in the right directions. And so I've been in the process of moving my life out of downtown Dallas, because I got a ranch property about an hour and a half west of Dallas, but I'm not built on it yet. I'm just now in the process of putting fences, steel fencing on it, and all this stuff that we're doing there. And but I have Cinderella parked out about 10 minutes away from it in a parked in a park, an RV park, where I can plug it in. And so basically that's my Western White House right there.
Yeah.
Out there, because I can live on her. But I don't, again, inside there, it's not conducive for a system. So, but right now we're putting, I'm right now in the early stages with a partner who's very advanced in stem cell and chiropractic and naturopathic stuff. We're putting a center here in Dallas.
That's great. That's good news. When will it be ready?
Not sure. We're in the stages now of working on the lease for the locations, and just going through all the initial stages of setting up the structures of all of it. And, could be open before Christmas. We'll see what happens. So I'll be able to hang out there anytime I want.
That sounds so nice. So my internet is. Can you still see me?
You're good.
Okay. So I just want to say thank you for your time, Scott, and I want to know if there's anything else, any other message you want to give the people today on 11/11, anything on your head or on your heart?
Well, since you brought up the Jews and the Jewish people, and how some people are saying all Jews are bad, that was an important piece of what you and I talked about, because I talk about the Khazarian Mafia. And I've called Israel many times. It's a Khazarian Mafia Bolshevik outpost, which it is, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't say anything about the Jewish people, right? The Jewish people are some of the most oppressed on earth. The Israeli Jews are some of the most oppressed on earth by the controllers. And many of them are oppressed in ways that they don't even know, just like we don't even know. So I'm not oppressed, I'm free, you ain't shit, right?
Right.
Because they can shut off your electricity anytime they want when you don't give them your hard-earned money, and there's free energy available right now, 0 point energy. We don't need to have them rape the planet of resources we don't even need to take out of the ground to push it into the environment in bad ways, toxically, and then transport it over miles and miles with all these other intrusive things like telephone poles and wires into the natural habitat of other species on the planet and get it to you. Centralized power, all bullshit. That's oppression. There's enough energy in 1 square inch of the ether around my head right now to power all of Europe for 1 solid year, right? Yet we got to put up with this bullshit. That's oppression. All of it. The whole structure they built for us to live in. We think, oh, I'm living good. No, you're not. We should be living like the movie Avatar, right? We should have all the things we want. And if we live like that, we wouldn't want all this bullshit, these concrete jungles, the vehicles we have, because we have anti-gravitic technology. We can live anywhere we want. We could have anti-gravitics would lift up and go to another country in no time flat because my brother lives there, right? I said I'd be there for breakfast and I got to leave in about an hour, right? Stuff like that. That's the world we could live in, but they kept it from us. So that's oppression. The Israeli people living in Israel, same oppression. That is their outpost. That's why military intelligence said we are saving Israel for last, right? Well, there's a reason why. But and I said this before, you said it earlier, like, again, I've pushed up on my Christian friends. My Jewish friends might not like me either, but when they say the Jewish people are the chosen ones of God, I'm like, cut the bullshit. If you want to believe that because it's in the Bible, which was distorted by the Luciferians and a lot of the best stuff taken out, because God has an A team and a B team. Oh yeah, I'm going to produce perfection and everything after that is going to be subpar. Cut the bullshit. That's not the way the quantum realm of God's universe works. It's absolute perfection. It's what they teach us. Case in point, and I'll leave with this. It was William Tompkins, who is part of the secret space program since the 50s, when he was an engineer for McDonnell before it became McDonnell Douglas, in Bill McDonnell in Santa Monica, right? So all these years in these programs, he's now 94 and he's blowing the whistle. And a very spry, intelligent guy at that time telling us all this stuff. The spacecraft carrier, like the flat deck aircraft carrier in Captain America that comes up out of the canyon at 6 miles long, this massive craft. We think, what a genius invention in the mind of some director or creator. It's no such thing. That's from reality. That was a craft he designed in the 70s for the secret space programs, folks. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe. Star Trek, Star Wars, all that. These aren't dreams that they dreamed up and put on a screen. This is the reality of everything, right? Yeah. It's basically Star Wars, what's the planet that Darth Vader comes from? The Empire, whatever. That's that whole offensive force of Star Wars. That's the U.S. Air Force's Dark Fleet. That's their program, Dark Fleet, right? The Dark Fleet. So you have all this stuff that's going on at William Tompkins, and many other space program whistleblowers are now coming out against them because they want them brought down. They want all these technologies to be given to humanity because it should be all of ours. Change the earth in 18 months, and no disease, no starvation, no poverty, nothing. We're here in a beautiful experience of an avatar like Earth, and we focus on loving each other, serving each other, focus on our spiritual ascension, meditation, prayer, all half the day. You're like, who'd want to sit in meditation for 5-6 hours? We do. That's part of what we are. But they made us do otherwise because we can't ascend or discover our power. Because if we all have our power, boom, they're done. They're gone. They're demolecularized. They're in boxes in the ground or Gitmo. They're gone, right? Because they're murderous criminals and Satanists. So anyways, that being said, one point I want to make. William Tompkins said in his raspy voice, and he goes, everything taught in every university on the planet is a lie. Everything taught in every school on the planet is a lie. Everything they teach is a lie. And you say, well, prove it. I can prove it really easily. What's the value of pi? You know what the value of pi is in calculations? 3.1444, like infinity. I think that's what it is. To infinity, right? Never stops. Well, if you use the value of pi in an equation to chart a trajectory to hit a planet in another solar system or galaxy, 1,000 light years away, and you use that pi in there, what's the likelihood you're going to hit that planet? Pretty much zero, right? Because it's not 1,000% precise, right? It's off by that much for infinity. So therefore, the mathematics they teach us on Earth is a lie, right? Einstein's theory of relativity is a lie. The physics they teach us is a lie. They give us enough to believe that it's almost this, and we chase it forever, chase the science to discover. They only need to they could teach us one time, all of us, even in grade school. Oh, I get the whole thing. I'm very good at physics. I understand the whole thing. They can't have that. They can't have us knowing. So that being said, the world that we would live in would be remarkably different from what we have, that these bastards put us in this matrix. That if everybody could get a sense in their soul of what I've come to know and learn, this revolution on the planet would involve every human, and there would be nowhere for any of these people to go. They would be gone in 24 hours, nowhere to hide. The whole world, human society would revolt on these bastards. They couldn't hide. They couldn't run away fast enough, because even the people that protect them and all, they'd like, you son of a bitch, grab by the neck right there, right? You did this to all of us. Yeah, but that's what's coming down.
Well, you said 18 months. You think it could all accelerate, unfold in 18 months? It'll be done.
They dropped it all on the ground right now on the what's off planet. 18 months flat, this planet would be, first of all, you would have people, massive industries overnight to produce med technology, massive industry to manufacture 0-point energy machines about the size of this canister, setting on your kitchen, no wires to your house anywhere, off grid, powering the whole place. If you wanted your house to look like Las Vegas, that thing could power it, right? So we have sonic healing technologies, sound waves, cause your cells in your body to go to work, go to war on disease, boom, correct everything, boom, like very fast. Disease is gone, all that stuff, regrowing limbs, all of that exists, all of it. But they've kept it from us off planet. The cabal on the planet is also part of the cabal in the off-planet programs. They talk about going to Mars, one day. When I hear Elon Musk in the past, I think Elon's flipped over to the good guys, but when he talked about, travel to Mars, cut the bullshit. We've had generations of Americans living on that planet who are Americans that have never been on Earth. They were born there because of the space, the brain drain when they brought them here. The Nazis, the Nazis connecting with these malevolent species and setting up bases on the backside of the moon, on Mars. People were told, you're the brightest, you're important for the continuity of humanity. There's going to be a catastrophe. We got to protect the species. We're going to advance humanity to protect it. And they thought, yeah, I'm really special. So they get up there and they find out, now you're going to do what we say. They're slaves, the brilliant people. That's where the brain drain went. Like, where'd all these brilliant people on Earth go? Like back in the 50s, where'd they go? That's where they went. So
they're waiting to be liberated as well.
Some don't know they need liberated. I mean, if you've been born up there generations, you just know what you know. Like, oh, this
like
is
like us.
Same thing. They don't know that there's, the ones that first got there that knew they were lied to, what do? They can do anything. Their families with them. They do what they're told. They work for these.
One more question, Scott. Do you know what planet you're from? Do you know where your star family is?
I have no idea. I don't know much. I don't think much about it. I've asked Megan Rose about that. I'm like, why do I have this sense of like my whole soul is built for combat? It's always been like that since I was a kid. I'd have dreams where I'm like swimming in a canal, right? With nothing but like a knife in my teeth. Like I'm on some mission. I'm like, oh yeah, I watch Rambo. Obviously I'm having a dream because I want to be Rambo, but I've always had that stuff going on. I'm thinking, and why is it right now that I've come to But, you know, hey, I said to my mom, maybe I'm delusional or have this hero complex. Hey, it's plausible that that's what I got. I don't know. But all I can tell you is the only thing that my soul thrives on is this combat mentality to go after these bastards that hurt people in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a cabal powers, a rapist, somebody that's taking this poor person's money, or just stepping over them and like going, you piece of shit. I mean, I want to go knock that person out. That's a human being. This system put them on the street. You should be giving them a hand up. Give them some money, for God's sakes.
100%. Did Megan have an answer for you why you have those dreams?
Yeah, she said that she believes I was a commander in some type of battle commander in some other world or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, really? I hope that's true, man, because that means I'm allowed to kick ass. Jesus says that's why he's here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're probably living that parallel life right now. And in your sleep state, you're still fighting in the other realm.
Yeah, you know, again, I really don't know what's true. I mean, things that I do hear, I'm like, hey, I like that. I kind of hope that's true. That'd be cool. But at the end of the day, I don't know. So the only thing that I do know is I have to be true to myself and my soul. And the only thing in my world that makes my heart beat is warfare against these bastards on any level that hurt humanity on any level. It was the kids that launched Patriot Street Fighter, or I should say the tipping point. It was the child satanic ritual abuse and murder of kids by the millions every year from these elite bastards in DC, politicians, governors, FBI agents, judges. The whole structure has been infiltrated with all these Satanists and the Vatican and the royal families and Hollywood massively, big tech. I'm like, oh, it's on. Kill me. I mean, again, I told my dad, I said, just want you to know, Pop, I probably won't last a year. I just want you to know that. And I said, but make sure you tell my 4 sisters that if they get me, just tell them, don't cry for me. Be happy. Why? Because I got to fight my battle that I've wanted to fight most of my adult life. And on top of that, the shit storm I'd rain down on these assholes from the ethereal realm they want nothing to do with, not to mention 22 million pissed off Patriot Street Fighters. Good luck with that, you scumbag. So, but I'm just like, I don't care. So just let them know I got to do exactly what fulfilled my life, fighting this battle against these criminals. And so don't worry about it, whatever happens is supposed to happen.
I hope that you have the protection of all the angels, the whole host of heaven protects you every footstep, everywhere you go. And I hope your body heals completely, Scott. And we get to live in that world that you and I just imagined for humanity on this day, 11/11, and we bring it in. I hope we can accelerate it just by talking about it, Scott. I hope we can get there sooner and bring it in, usher it in, manifest it. And I just want to say thank you again for your time.
My pleasure. And it's coming. Believe me, it's coming. So much love to you, pretty lady. Good to see your blue eyes again.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, every time I see these redheads with blue eyes, I'm like, ooh, that's a pretty girl. That's why my face looked like it did. Come and talk to me.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you for what you're doing, having the courage to get in front of the camera and start sharing your whole viewpoint of the world and life and why we need to all come together. Religion has no place on this planet. Religion has no place on this planet except the ash heap of history. Religion should be on the ash heap of history. They created it for division. Spirituality, we're all connected, tethered by a light string you can't see. Every human, every one of us connected in this. It's like a neural network in your brain. Every human's connected. Start acting. We need to start acting like it.
Yeah, right? God is one. God is one.
Where we go one, we go all. Why they told us that, right? Yep. So much love to you, sweetheart. Good to see you. And we'll see you again.
Okay. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.